everyone, and welcome to another episode of Storytime with the Scariest Podcast.
Woo!
I'm Robin Grace, and this is Adam Diaz.
Hello.
And we're here to read you guys some homegrown horrors. Adam, why don't you let us know what homegrown horrors are?
Wow, doing it all at once. Homegrown horrors are the wonderful, spooky, paranormal, spiritual, sleep paralysis, night terror, or just coincidental stories that you have experienced, or a friend or family member, or just a story that you have heard that you would like to share with us. Robin, if someone has a story like that, where can they send it to?
So you can send it to us over at storytime@scariest.com, or head on over to our website, scariest.com, and go under the little Contact Us tab and type in all that stuff, and it'll email it to us that way, too.
Indeed it will. You can also hit us up on Facebook, which is facebook.com/scarishpodcast. Twitter is @scarishpod, and Instagram is @scarishpodcast. We accept stories in all those spots. And for those of you who are like, I sent a story and I really want to watch it be read live, you can. Wednesdays, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is around what time it is now. You can go to youtube.com/scarish or twitch.tv/scarishpodcast and watch us record these. Let us know what you think of the stories as they go, even if it's not yours. It's a really fun time. Shout out to everyone who's in the chat right now. We appreciate you folks.
Technically, if you're listening to this, it's not now. We're not recording it now as you're listening to this on Friday.
Yes, thank you for that technicality. Very much appreciated. But yeah, if you would like to share with us, if you would like to listen, or if you'd like to watch us record these live, those are all the different ways to do it. We have 6 stories tonight. We're doing 6 because they're all relatively short. We didn't want to give you guys like a 15-minute show. So we're hoping that you guys are okay with that because that's what we're doing. But I've heard they're good. Spooky Mom edited these. She said they're all pretty good. They should start some decent conversation. So we'll see what happens with that. And we're going to dive right in. I think I'm going first if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you go, girl.
Awesome. So this first one is subjected, I guess. It has a subject of homegrown horror. So pretty straightforward and to the point. At work today, I said straightforward like 10 times in a meeting and people started making fun of me because I was like presenting stuff. And I was like, this next one, they're like, is it straightforward?
Do they ever make fun of you for saying like a lot?
No, they don't. No one thinks I say like a lot but you. So anyways, they were making fun of me. They're like, is this one straightforward? And I was like, no, it's actually a fucking nightmare. And they all started laughing. Anyways, gonna get to this. So it starts out like this. So, a weird thing happened earlier tonight. Me and my brother were coming back from town on IN-218, which I'm guessing is some sort of freeway or interstate. And we were coming around a bend about 2 miles from home in an area of cornfields as far as the eye could see. At the time, I was looking at my phone mostly, in parentheses, trying to find something else to listen to, but looked up when he started to rapidly decelerate. We saw an old man that looked like a farmer standing on the side of the road holding a gas lantern, but the thing is, once we got closer to the bend, he disappeared. After we passed the curve in the road, my brother started to speed quite quickly, and when I asked him why, he said he could see the old man in the rearview mirror.
Shut up. No
I tried to rationalize it to him, saying it was probably someone out hunting, but I believe we probably saw a ghost just wandering out in the field.
That the seeing it in the rearview mirror is the scariest part.
When you see it and you approach it and it disappears, and then you pass it and all of a sudden it pops back up, that is super effing creepy. Like there's no way to get around that.
It's just horror movies have taught me to be afraid, to be very afraid.
I completely agree with him speeding after this. As soon as you see them in the rearview mirror, whether or not it's a prankster or someone's messing with you, like better safe than sorry, best GTFO. So pretty solid start.
Glitch says, did he say sometimes dead's better?
Wow, sometimes dead's better. I still haven't seen the remake. I love John Lithgow, but he's not going to say it that way, and I don't even want to hear it if it's not said by what's his face. I forget the guy's name. Anyways. Awesome.
So I think I'm going to hop into my next story. This was actually sent to us over Instagram. So in case you folks were wondering, you can use other outlets too.
Like I say, we do check them all.
So this one goes, when I was 10, I had lived in an old ranch house for what seemed like forever. It was a beautiful place, but as soon as you walked into the garage, the hairs on the back of your neck stood up, and you always felt like someone was watching you. I remember I always had nightmares of a dark man-like figure staring at me in the corner. I woke up one night only to see a dark figure staring at me in the corner, and me, being a 10-year-old kid, hid under the sheets. Because that's how you protect yourself.
The blanket, your sheets,
it's invincible.
All protective barriers. We all know this.
Later on in the week, my sister and I hear the door slam closed. I should mention that my parents were in town shopping and both my dogs were in front of us. So with me being the brave older sister, I went to investigate on my own, which is frightening. At least take a dog with you, right? I opened the door and there was the dark figure in the darkest corner of the room. I slammed the door and ran to my sister on the couch. A few weeks later, around Christmas time, I was looking at the tree and I kid you not, an ornament shattered right in front of me.
Did it fall and shatter, or did it explode like someone's head in the movie Scanners? Because that would be even creepier.
Yeah, that's even worse if you're just looking at it and it just...
Pow.
Yeah. What would be really scary is if it were one of those shiny ornaments and you saw a reflection in it of some dark figure and then it explodes. That's scary.
You gotta bust out the screenplay and start writing.
Yeah, we should make horror movies. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. We should make horror spoofs, which would be ridiculous and awesome.
Yeah.
We've been talking about a lot of stuff for Scene Missing because it's like, I know I say this every month, but yeah, eventually that thing's gonna get made and we're thinking about a lot of Patreon content and like some goals that we can hit, and I'm really friggin' excited. So we'll have some stuff to announce here very, very soon, possibly the next episode. So.
All right. My mother stormed off to the garage and yelled. She later told me that there was a ghost who was a total asshole, and his name was Jonathan. He died 100 years ago. That's crazy.
It's a lot of information.
How does she know all this information? Unless
try and
she
get this information for us from your mom.
Or she used a Ouija board. And
let us know how she knows this information.
She also told me that she was a medium, so that's why.
Okay, cool. Thank you for telling us. Look at that. It was like interaction, immediate. It's super cool.
I found out that Jonathan had owned the house and basically told us that this was his house and to get the fuck out or he would continue to haunt us. So my mother, with a lot of persuasion, got him to cross over and we then moved. That's my story. I have a lot more and would love to share with you. Keep up the great work. Thank you, gamer gal.
Why would you make him cross over and then move? Like, you could have just moved and let him stay in his house. I mean, I get that you're trying to, like, take care of him and everything and get him to cross over to the other side. But what if he's going to hell? Like, he just got fucked. That's all I'm saying.
So I was watching a show on Netflix called 2-Sentence Horror Stories. And one of them is about the ghost of an abusive husband. And the mom and wife of said deceased husband were able to get his spirit to kind of stop being an evil douchebag. And then they moved. So they got him to stop being evil in the home, moved, but his spirit was still stuck inside. And like the last scene of the episode is him staring out the window after them driving away. And he's just like, don't leave me.
Wow.
So I just imagine maybe Jonathan was like, bruh, don't leave me.
But they crossed him over first so they could leave, I guess. I don't know. It's a weird one, but good stuff. Thank you for sending that in. Yeah. It's got to be rough being a medium and being able to see all that stuff. Or like being a kid and seeing something and then your mom's like, oh yeah, we see dead people. You're going to have to get used to that. Like, that's just fucking creepy.
Yeah, if my mom one day just told me, hey, BT dubs, I see dead people, I would freak out.
Yeah, I think most of us would. Some of us would be overjoyed and thrilled, though.
Really?
I guarantee you there are people that are in our listening audience who would love it if their parent told them that they had some sort of I see dead people power.
That'd be kind of cool. So. Or if they one day they're just like, I am Haley Joel Osment.
Wow. I'd be excited. That dude's pretty cool. Maybe they're like, I smell dead people. And it's like, that sucks. That's not very fancy at all. So I'm going to move into my second one of the show, and this one's subject is scary-ish experience. And it starts out like this. Hey, guys.
Hey.
This is to share if you want. Right on. Thank you. So my little family and I lived in not the greatest neighborhood in Utah. Lots of homeless, drugs, etc. in the area. First, a little background. A few nights prior, I had a bad nightmare that someone broke into my house, walked right into my bedroom while my husband and I were asleep, and tried to kill us, I guess. I woke up sweating and panicking. So a few days later, my husband went to work, and he worked evening, so he usually wouldn't get home until around midnight, and I was at home with my 2 kids alone. We had 2 doors. One was our driveway entrance, and the actual entrance door was hidden on the side behind bushes and stuff. Problem is, everyone used the driveway door to knock, and it didn't have a peephole to see who was there. So someone knocks, and I'm thinking, that's weird, I'm not expecting anyone. But, you know, sometimes family just shows up. So I go to open the door, and I unlock the door, and someone opens it from the other side. And I freaked out and pushed back, and they pushed back, and so I slammed it shut and locked it and ran into my room with the kids. A few seconds later,
What?
my husband calls me and he's like, "Why did you slam the door on me?"
Aww.
So I, of course, go to open it and he was like, "What the heck?" I'm like, "Well, it's 7 and you usually don't get home till way later, and I thought it was someone trying to come in and kill me." We both just started laughing, and then he told me he was glad I did that. I acted so fast because it could have been a stranger. It was scary-ish to me anyways.
I
Love
think
the
that's
podcast
hilarious.
and the stories from other listeners.
That's so funny.
That is so good. But what's awesome about it, though, is like you started to open it and you thought better of it, like, this person could be trying to murder me. And the fact that someone was trying to like enter the home without waiting to be told to come in.
That would freak me out.
That will trigger you. So way to do that. Way to protect your family. And I like that your husband would like laugh at you and was like, "It was just me, but I'm really happy you did that." Yeah, that's such a good story, man.
A douchebag would be like, "What the F? Like, why would you do that to me?" and get super pissed off.
I worked at a place that had door-to-door salesmen, and no joke, we had 2 of them get fired because they used to walk like neighborhoods, go door-to-door selling products, and they went to some lady's house and they tried to enter her home. Like, they knocked on the door, she came to the door, and they like tried to walk in, and she's like, "Excuse me, like, who do you think you are? Like, you don't live here. Like, I'll call my husband and he'll come down and he'll throw you out. Like, what are you doing?" And they're like, "You don't need to be rude to us. We're just trying to sell you something, blah, 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 blah." And it escalated, and she told them to leave because they tried to walk into her house, and they were like, they didn't think they had done anything wrong. And we're like, that is literally like unlawful entry. Like, just because like she opened the door doesn't mean you can just rush in. Like, that's home invasion type shit.
Yeah.
And the worst part about this story is once we contacted the customer after we heard the complaint, they were like, the worst part is they were leaving and my husband pulled up because she told them her husband was home to get them to leave. And the husband pulled up and they started like harassing him. Like, "You're supposed to be inside. Like, your wife lied to us." So he's like, "You guys need to get the fuck out of here. I'm going to call the cops."
Yeah. Did they actually get fired?
So yeah, they totally got fired. But like, he went inside because his wife was freaking out and they spit on his fucking car. Like, you're a door-to-door salesman and this is the sort of charisma that you have. It was insane. Like, I was the one that handled the complaint and I couldn't believe my fucking ears when I was listening to it. I was like, no way they did this. And like, when we contacted the people, they basically tried to say like, they were very rude to us. Like, they weren't trying to dispute what happened. They were just trying to say like, they deserved it. And it's like, you are so fired right now. Like, I wish I could fire you twice.
Oh my gosh. Okay, anyway. This next email we're going to read here is from Clarice.
Hello, Clarice. It's good to see you again.
It goes, "Hi, guys. Hello."
Mm-hmm.
That's Adam saying hello.
With coffee in my mouth.
Ish me again. I have another homegrown horror for you. I forgot to let you know from my previous story that you can share it on the pod. Thank you. I'm currently listening to your pod while typing up the story at work. Yay, multitasking. Anyways.
It's a lot of scary-ish exposure right there.
Anyways, I have a story about my BF's current house. His house is super haunted, and I occasionally feel things because I can feel and hear them, aka ghosts, since I was a kid, but I recently started seeing them. Only sometimes, thank God. Oh man, I can't imagine. You go through life and you're like, okay, I feel these weird spirits, and then you start seeing things, and it would drive me insane. Just trying to figure out what's real, what's not.
Yeah.
Like...
I don't think the real life version of seeing stuff like that would be funny like it is in a lot of comedies.
Right.
I think it would be like slightly horrifying
it's
to
not
horribly horrifying.
It's not like that Ricky Gervais movie.
I love that movie.
Where everyone's nice and they just want you to do something for them.
They're all just looking for reasons to cross over. I think it'd be more like Ghost, where people are fucking angry all the time and they're there because they're like confused and they don't know what their unfinished business is in certain cases.
I think it's more like Sixth Sense, where they all looked as messed up as they did when they died.
I can't picture Patrick Swayze in the Sixth Sense version of this, so I'm gonna stick with Ghost.
Okay. I just am imagining that bicyclist at the end of the Sixth Sense.
I'm imagining that sculpting scene at the beginning of Ghost. Hell yeah.
Oh God. Okay.
Pottery classes like had attendance shoot up by like the hundreds of thousands after that fucking movie. You know it did.
The Try Guys did an episode on YouTube. They did a video where they tried pottery class and they had them try to recreate the scene from Ghost. Anyway, okay. So
God, that's such a good movie. I'm just playing it in my head right now. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Never seen it. So
what?
my boyfriend and his little brother and I just came back from a family dinner, and I was driving to drop them off to their house. I pulled up to their driveway and waited for them to go inside. I looked up, and you could see in the hallway on the second floor, I saw someone walk really slow while looking at me. It looked like it came from my boyfriend's sister's room, so I thought it was his sister that just saw me. So I waved, but it wasn't waving back. Maybe she's like, whatever, bitch.
How many times do you think like an actual evil spirit has walked by a person or tried to like interact like menacingly, and they didn't realize it and acted like a complete idiot or just super nice?
I bet it happens all the time. On
accident, like, oh, hey, what's up? And the thing is just like, I hate you even more now.
Or when I walk by people, I smile, because I don't want to seem like I have resting bitch face. So I'll smile to my coworkers when I walk past them, stuff like that. When I walk at the mall or something and you walk past someone or whatever.
I know I have resting bitch face, and I'll let people know, like, if I pass you in the hall, it's going to look like I'm angry. I'm not. So I do this thing where I make a fist and I two-tap my heart and then do a peace sign to them.
Do you really?
And they do it back. I swear. I did that all the time when I worked at Tesla. So, like, anytime anyone saw me, I'd be like, two-tap. But, like, now at this other place that I work at, it's not probably, like, the best cultural thing to do because it's a lot more proper and we all wear suits and stuff like that. But there's a few people that I've let know and, like, they see me and, like, it could be across the call center and be like, two-tap. What's up?
I do not do that. There's someone that sits, like, almost catty corner to me.
It's kind of funny that you said catty corner because I looked over and Emma over there in the chat just saw that Kat has joined us and said, Kat.
There's, like, 30 or 40 A's in there.
And you're like, catty corner.
Yeah, no, there's someone that sits catty corner to me, and sometimes if I'm looking out from my cube, and they're looking out of their cube, we just like do the
nod.
the chin thing.
The damn it feels good to be a gangster.
It's so funny because I think that's the only person that does that. Anyway, so continuing on, this thing wasn't waving back. I thought it was so odd. I thought, why the hell isn't she waving at me? Then, as I backed up from the driveway slowly, I started to realize it wasn't her. Whatever it was walking so slow and stared at me at the same time. It looked like a dark shadow, but a little bit translucent, and the eye area was a gradient gray, and it stared at me. When I got home, I texted my boyfriend's sister to see if she walked out of her room.
Texted my boyfriend's sister, what the fuck is your problem?
I don't know if it's boyfriend or best friend. It says BF. It could be either or. I just want to put that out there. Maybe it's best friend. But their sister said that she didn't, and she was in bed all day because she was sick. She asked why, and I told her what I saw. She then said, oh yeah, it lives in my room. I see it all the time. What?
The fuck?
How can she be so nonchalant?
I mean, at some point, if you're stuck, you just get used to things, And like when someone else experiences it, you're like, oh yeah, that's our ghost. No big deal.
Yeah. That's nope for me. I'm getting shivers writing this. I'll write more stories because I got a shit ton of it, but I'm too scared to write some of it. I'll really want to share a story with you guys, but I have a weird feeling that I shouldn't. But anyway, in the meantime, I'll write some stories that'll give you all the heebie-jeebies. Thank you, and keep on creeping on.
Why, thank you. Thank you for sending that.
Thank you for sharing.
Give us those heebie-jeebies. We want to hear all the stories. That is, you should have this person that's like, oh yeah, that's my ghost. I see it all the time.
Tell us some ghost stories. They need to write us a
story about the backstory to that. We need to know what their name is because we got the name for the other one and like all the background information that they can dig up on it because that is super creepy.
Yeah.
To just be living with that, just be like, yep, that's just the ghost. Likes to stare at people evilly and menacingly. So super fucking creepy. What's the weirdest thing you've ever lived with? Where you just adjusted to it and you acclimated and people might have thought you were crazy for it. And don't pick an ex.
Oh, that's funny. The weirdest thing I've ever lived with. Why don't you go first?
You.
What?
Yeah, just you.
What?
No, the weirdest thing I think for me was living right next to train tracks and just like having things not be hung up on the walls and not like on certain flat surfaces that they didn't have enough room to like wobble on because my house shook so much so often because the trains would go by and just shake the shit out of it. I mean, it was a bad neighborhood. The rent was super cheap. And at some point, I just convinced myself, like, when I was a kid, I always wanted to go to a hotel that had one of those, like, quarter beds that would, like, vibrate.
Yeah.
And it was like I had it for free. So at night when the trains would come by, it made me feel like I was at home. Yeah, and I'd just be like, cool, like, let it rock you to sleep. And I legitimately got into the mindset where a train passing, like, was something that, like, was cool for me. Like, it felt good. Like, it made me feel like I was at home. But I think living, like, right next to train tracks is probably the weirdest thing, where people come over and they'd be like, you deal with that all the time? I'd be like, oh yeah, like it happens all the time, no big deal.
You should have been like, sit on it.
Sit on it?
No, the bed when it goes by.
I was like, what is that? It's like,
no.
I don't got to do this work. If you get on top, the train will go by. It'll take care of it both. For both of us.
Don't not what I meant. Anyway, shut up.
Just sit on it.
Okay, so the weirdest thing that I probably lived with was growing up, where the house that I grew up, the second house that I lived with my parents growing up, was in the middle of nowhere, So behind our house was just sugarcane. And then across the street is a beach no one ever goes to. And you're in the middle of nowhere. It takes like 30 minutes to even get out there. And it's one street. It's a one-way street. Not one way, but there's just two lanes, single lanes, right? One going one way, one going the other way. And so people don't really stop there. It's just a place in the middle of nowhere. And people live downstairs because my parents bought this house that was like an apartment complex. It was really weird. But people live downstairs. And in the middle of the night, you'd hear furniture moving and scraping. And if you didn't think about the fact that people live downstairs, I always thought we had ghosts. I always had to put my head out and look at the kitchen to see if it was our chairs that were getting pulled across the floor, stuff like that.
That is creepy.
And then during thunderstorms and things like that, there was a mountain valley right behind our house. So you'd see the lightning from the other side of the mountain. And it would just be really big lightning and it'd be really loud. And our house was so old, every little gust of wind creaked the entire house. You think that the roof is going to fall on you.
You know, that reminds me of one other thing. I know this is kind of a tangent before the next story, but one other thing that I lived with for a really long time, we built a new house when I was really young. We moved in when I was 7 years old. And and we're in the middle of nowhere, and behind us was a cornfield. That's the house I grew up in. And when the wind was really bad, and in Northwest Indiana it can get really bad, my bedroom was on the corner of the house, and it would like bend around the house, and it would make this horrible howling noise, just like super fucking loud.
Yeah.
And I just got used to it, and I swear it must have been from when I was in second grade until I was in high school. And in high school, I went to put in like a fan in the window that could like cool off the air. You know, you get like those really cheap like air conditioning fans for your window, even though they're not air conditioning units.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this weird plastic thing on my window like was just jutting out, and I couldn't get it to fit. And I was like, what the hell? And I hit it really hard, and it popped into place. It was the fucking weather stripping to the window that hadn't been installed properly when the house was built. And it had been making that noise for a decade and torturing 7-year-old to 16-year-old me with the sounds of demons and ghosts every time the wind blew while I was trying to sleep. And after that, I never heard that noise again. And I was like, those sons of bitch contractors who don't know how to do their damn job never just hit it with a rubber mallet to put into place. And I just thought like, oh, okay, my room's haunted. No big deal. Shout out to Ghost Dunk, who just resubscribed for the 3rd month in a row.
Thank you so much.
The message says, I'm sick, I fell asleep, and I had a dream where I caught my grandmother's killer. In parentheses, my grandmother was not murdered.
Wow.
And then I was playing volleyball with Adam. Does that count as a creepy story? I think it counts. We get a lot of crazy shit. So thank you, Ghost Dunk.
Thank you so much.
So I'm going to move into my 3rd email of the show. And this subject is Psychopomp and Circumstance, which is a pretty solid subject line. And it starts out, hi, scary fish. 'Tis mix. So TLDR, which for those of you out there who don't know,
did not read.
Exactly, says, I knew when I was 5 I was, quote, magic, in parentheses 41 now. I've just been a friend of nature and used my intuition and energy for positivity. No religion. Don't call me Wiccan, LOL. I read tarot. I am a massage therapist and energy healer. Just a big fucking hippie. Right on. That's a solid TLDR. I appreciate it. And then the rest of the story is, about 2009, I was living in an apartment complex and had these neighbors down the hall. A nice couple, a bit younger than me. I'll call them Sadie and Dylan. Sadie worked in New Hope, PA, which is hella full of ghosts, in a clothing shop. It was in a building that burned down probably 100 years ago or so.
All right.
One night, I got a text from her that said, yo, we got a kid ghost here. Can you handle it? There's a tiny handprint on our mirror. In parentheses, they don't have kids. I swear when I read that, I said to myself, I gotta go to work. Really, it's something I'd never done before, but I thought, hey, I'm a fucking witch. I connect to the spirit world. Why wouldn't I be able to coax a spirit away? This is pretty badass.
Yeah.
So I looked around and there was definitely a child-sized handprint on the mirror in their living room, like it was made in bathroom steam or something. They were the only occupants of the apartment. I just went by my instincts as to what to do. I made salt water and we wiped all the backs of our necks with it. I cast a circle and meditated. Now, you can say I'm crazy. I mean, who knows if we can connect to the dead. But as I was meditating, I saw a little boy named Teddy who got killed in the fire. Now, I already know that Sadie worked in a building that burned down. So again, was it real? They were listening to me talk out loud to, quote, Teddy. I envisioned a circle opening up for Teddy and told him he can go through and that he'll be nothing but safe. I then felt a burst of happiness from him and he went through. As he did, me, Dylan, and Sadie were all in different parts of their apartment. Me sitting at the table, one in the kitchen, one in the living room. They were both standing. My neck felt super hot for 5 seconds, and I was about to say something when Sadie said, I feel warm, immediately with Dylan saying, me too, right afterwards. They thanked me profusely, and it made me feel good. Nobody treats me like an outcast for being a hippie goth witch, luckily, but it is a concern. That isn't my only story, but I thought this one would appeal you the most. Thanks, guys. Heart you both.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That's really cool.
It's pretty badass, I'm not going to lie. You're like, I can do this shit. Let me go ahead and move a ghost. It's funny because we've been talking about stuff just like that this episode. So it's like, it's weird how some of these stories line up. It's obviously because we said something in a previous episode that triggered everyone to like write in at the same time. But it's nice because sometimes Storytime episodes have themes, and this one totally carried over. So if you have more stories, we definitely want to hear about it. It's like, you state that you knew you were magic when you were 5. You're currently 41, and the story starts at 2009. I want to know about like the development years. Like, if you're kicking off your story at A New Hope at episode 4, I want to hear about episodes 1, 2, and 3. Just leave out the midichlorian stuff because it sounds super, super interesting. And thank you again for sending that in.
All right. So this next email is from Hannah and is titled "Ghosts." My God, yes. Please read this.
This is a pretty good subject.
Okay, so it goes. Hey, Adam and Robin.
Hello.
Hello. And Scary Mom, love you. My name's Hannah, and I want to share a few good stories. My house has 4 known ghosts. One is male that I've seen, named George, and he's a decent ghost. One story from him is that I was in my bed, the light switch across the room, and I just said, hey, George, can you please turn off the light? It's time for me to sleep. Rustling coming across the room, light switch turns off. Thanks, man, I owe you one. What? That's kind of chill. I mean, that your ghost turns off the lights for you.
That is pretty awesome. And if they lower your heating bill, or if they lower your air conditioning bill in the summer, they can totally stay.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. It's basically like they're paying rent.
Another ghost is a very cat-like woman who either runs up and down my squeaky-ass stairs at 2 a.m. because why not? She also enjoys banging pans together. Anything pushable in my house gets knocked over by her. I could see that being a cat.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not a woman, it's just a cat. I don't know.
Could be a cat ghost.
Another male...
It could be a cat, because cats are really tricky like that.
Yeah. Oh, or it knows transfiguration and can go between forms.
As a ghost, it goes between forms?
Why
or
not?
Like, as a person, you're talking about...
Technically, as a ghost, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
You don't know that? Watch Ghost. There are fucking rules, Robin. God, we need to watch this movie. I'm just saying.
I'm good.
Sounds like you have Professor McGonagall as a ghost.
Exactly. Another male ghost name is, from what I've gathered, is John. I know this because he used my chalkboard to write his name, but he's just weird. He'll randomly pull your hair when you're going up the stairs. Ooh, that's scary.
I thought you were going to be like, ooh, mama like.
No, that's super scary. Imagine walking up the stairs and someone yanks you backwards by your hair.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fun.
He'll also throw my underwear, I'm a girl, across the room like a pervert. Maybe this dude's just a dick.
Yeah, he sounds like a pervert.
I've even woken up to something, definitely John, caressing my leg, my bare leg. I've also woken up to less than desirable touching of my boobs. He's just a freaking creep. Maybe it's a teenager that's just like died too soon, didn't get to be,
it's a super horny human being.
Yeah.
Who died and stayed to just grab some titties.
Maybe. The last one is just my dog. She's a golden lab and she wanders around my house, so I'll see her every once in a while. I cry whenever I do because I loved that dog, so crying right now. But yeah, y'all have a good day. Hope to hear this on the podcast. You should follow me on Insta. Wink, wink, JK. You don't have to. Love y'all. Thank you so much for sharing your stories.
Yeah, we appreciate that. And man, I dream about my dogs from when I was a kid sometimes. and I'm always like so happy to see them. But usually my dreams, whenever I have a dream with my dogs in it, is about like something trying to get them and I have to protect them. So it's like I can never like relax. So it'd be nice to just see like Phantom Dog walk by, like, oh my God, I miss that dog so much. So I want to thank everyone who joined us live over at youtube.com/scarish and twitch.tv/scarish podcast. You guys make this so much fun, and having the race at the end of the night that we do to give away some free merch is always a really good time. Thank you to the folks who joined us for the first time ever. Shout out to everyone who sent their story to storytime@scarish.com. The homegrown horrors that we get are fantastic. It's super fun to let people tell us their stories. It really is. And thank you for letting us read them sincerely. If you have a story you'd like to share with us, send us an email to storytime@scarish.com. Go to the website, scarish.com, and click on Contact Us, or contact us on any of our social medias. We'd be happy to read it if you'd like. And if you don't want to share it and you're just trying to bend someone's ear, we are here for that too. So go ahead and send it to us. Say, hey, this is just for you guys. And just open up a dialogue. It is us. We don't have a social media director. We don't have someone that works for us that checks our stuff.
This is all us.
It's all us. So if you're getting a message from us, it's either me or Robin, which was evident today by the fact that Robin posted on Instagram a picture of her nails, and I did as well, because I was like, I guess we're doing this today, and I drew a smiley face on my fingernail. I actually had my coworker Peter do it for me. I was like,
Aww.
Can you be my nailtologist? And he was like, absolutely. So, yeah, fun stuff. Thank you so much to everyone. We sincerely appreciate all the support. Robin, for the folks who wanted to support us by kicking us some money, how can they do so?
If you want to help support us, you can head on over to patreon.com/scaryishpodcast. Those are monthly donations. We have a whole bunch of different tiers, a whole bunch of different stuff. We're really trying to work on a whole bunch of new content for everyone. So hopefully we can get that done. Life's just a little busy. If you want to do one-time donations, you can go over to ko-fi.com/scarishpodcast. Those are one-time donations. We're hoping to get this new laptop or computer set up soon.
No laptop. This will be a desktop.
Okay. Yeah, new computer setup.
Super excited. We're apparently also going to be streaming horror games soon.
Yes. So
starting with Silent Hills.
Yeah. So we're going to need a whole new update to our studio setup. So any donations are incredibly helpful.
Absolutely. And I think that is just about everything that we have for this Storytime episode 86. So Robin, go ahead and sign us out.
Keep on creeping on, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.